Hello, welcome to another week in my life. So this week, I feel like I keep saying this week is gonna be different than usual, which is fun. I like having weeks out of routine, but one of the ways that this week is gonna be very different is that I have 4 different trainings that I will be attending this week, only 2 of which are actually related to each other. So right now, as we speak, I'm getting ready to head into a virtual training. That is why I'm up in my little office space. If you don't recognize this space, it is because I'm pretty sure the last time I was here was whenever I had a training at the end of August for my job. I don't know why I haven't been spending time up here. I definitely am gonna make an effort to come up here more often because it's fun. It has my desk. I think it just reminds me of grad school. But yes, 4 different trainings, and so we'll discuss each of them as the day comes. Today's is a continuing education unit, and it is on motivational interviewing. At this point, I think I have a basic understanding of motivational interviewing, but I know that I will definitely come out a lot more knowledgeable because I definitely don't know all too much about it. Today, that training is for 3 hours, and then it has another 3-hour session on Thursday. At this point, my understanding is basically motivational interviewing is a type of kind of talk therapy type deal, and one thing that it's big on is that the therapist, the counselor, whoever it is not at all an expert in what they're talking about. So it's like you're not giving advice or you're not giving necessarily information to the client that you're talking to, but you're more so, it's really focused on being a sounding board. And so it's lots of times used in times when maybe a person isn't quite convinced that they need to change or that they want to change. And so the stages of change, if you've ever heard of those, come really into play, where like pre-contemplation stage of change is when you don't see anything wrong with anything in your life, and so there's nothing you need to change on. And then people can move into contemplation, preparation for change, action as far as change goes, and then maintenance. I'm pretty sure those tie together pretty well, and motivational interviewing is a technique that does so. But like I said, I'm sure I'll know a lot more after this training today. This morning, I filmed basically the longest video ever. It was like over an hour worth of footage for my monthly reset video, and so I have some time now before the training starts that I'm going to spend trying to start editing that, because the goal is for that to go up on Thursday, and today is Tuesday. And then further in on the week, I'll be going into work Wednesday and Thursday. I have another online training tomorrow night, and then on Friday, I don't want to like give it away, but I do want to let you know why it's exciting. But there's the volunteer opportunity that I've been talking about a little bit, alluding to, and I'm going to have an 8-hour training this Friday and next Friday. This video is not going to include next Friday, but it definitely will include this Friday. So I don't know how it ended up where all of these like unrelated trainings ended up being all this week, but it's going to make for a fun vlog. The training yesterday was really cool, and I think I'll do like a full debrief on it tomorrow after the second part of the training is done, but I can just tell that the trainer really cares about clients and about making sure that they feel seen and heard, and it's cool to hear more about like the motivational interviewing, but then also his own takes on it. So we'll kind of discuss that more after tomorrow, because maybe I'll have more to talk about then. But I am getting off of work now. It's Wednesday, and I was only in until 2 today just because the way my hours work and with the training and everything, I only had to be in until 2 today. So I was able to catch up on some notes, catch up on some documentation, and then I'm planning on going to work out right now, like once I get in and get some food in me. And then today's training is actually for EF Ultimate Breaks. Since I'm an ambassador for them, I guess they have like ambassador seasons, and this is the beginning of a new season, and so we're all just kind of getting like retrained, I don't know, on how to embass. We'll figure it out. But today was a good day at work. I feel pretty exhausted, but I also didn't bring lunch with me because I was getting off at 2, which I always eat lunch before 2, so I don't know why I thought that, but it's fine. I'll just go get some food in me now.
If spring is the season that wakes me alive, then fall is the season to contemplate life. Oh, yeah. I don't know.
I only stayed at work today from 8 to 12 because I headed home so I can do the second part of the motivational interviewing training, yeah, from 1 to 4 today. And so I'm gonna get some food because somehow I feel like I've just stayed being starving this week, but then I also act as if that's surprising, as if I haven't been purposefully trying to increase my workouts. So it just Seems kind of goofy of me. But today at work, since I was only there for the 4 hours, I was there for just enough time to be able to prep my client presentations for our multidisciplinary team meeting, and then have the meeting, and then enter my documentation notes that the clients got presented from that meeting. So I had the perfect amount of time to do all of that today, and then it's just kind of one of those days I'm excited to be out early. Like, it feels like an early release day from school. And I do work this weekend, which is regular, but I have Friday not at jail, which is kind of nice. I guess I could talk about what I'm doing tomorrow just to keep you interested. So I've alluded in the past couple of videos, and I kind of discussed it more in depth in one video, but basically I'm going to start volunteering for a restorative justice program, which I'm so excited about, because restorative justice is what has been shown continually in research to work a lot better if the goal is actual restoration. Obviously, if justice systems are set up to be punitive, I mean, they do that successfully too. So if the goal is to punish, justice systems are really good at punishing. But if the goal is true restoration, like being able to decrease crime and decrease recidivism and decrease people actually reoffending, then restorative justice is what has been shown to work. And so I'm very excited to get involved into that, because one, I'm just curious, two, it's what's been shown to work, and three, I think my mindset, my mentality needs that, and restorative justice principles in my mind just align very well with social work, whereas punitive systems that are set up in states and in the federal level and everything just aren't aligned with my values personally. I feel like I've been getting all justice reform on this channel lately, but I mean, I've always thought it, I just haven't always vocalized it. So with the restorative justice program that I'm getting to be a part of, I'm going to be volunteering to be a facilitator in restorative justice meetings, which that's the part that I don't really know exactly what it's going to look like yet, but I do have training, so I have to go through 16 hours of training, and 8 of those hours will be tomorrow. So I'll be meeting new people, getting involved in a new organization just as volunteer. It's not work of any kind, but I am very excited to be able to spend my hours doing that. And I also feel that this position as a volunteer plays on my strengths, and I'm just hoping will fill me up a little bit, and while also being able to, you know, give back and participate in the wheels of restorative justice happening. So that's tomorrow. Just felt like I wanted to give that spiel so you can stay interested, stay for tomorrow, see how all of that goes. But I'm even just excited for the training, because it's just going to be in a new place. I forget if we get breakfast, but we definitely get lunch, getting to meet new people, and so I'm just kind of excited for that kind of switch up in routine, especially since it's such a cool opportunity that I'm very excited to get into. Kind of the funny thing with it was that I've stayed even looking up like jobs in restorative justice, not necessarily with the intent to switch jobs right now, but just because I'll be moving within the next year, kind of seeing like what the options are out there, where there are options. And really there aren't that many jobs that are focused in restorative justice, though I think they're increasing, and it would be cool if they're increasing. But I've been like looking up jobs, seeing like, oh, what kind of opportunities are there, and then this volunteer opportunity I just happened to come across like right at the perfect time with the program starting up. And so very, very excited for that. I'm also excited for the 3-hour training today, because I'm excited to just kind of sit at my desk and chill and I guess be trained. I think I'm gonna make a smoothie for lunch, and then the rest of the night I'll go back and work out. I'll try, if I remember, to talk more about the workouts that I've been doing lately, because as I mentioned in my November reset video, one of my goals is to really increase my intensity of workout and make sure that I'm truly challenging myself. And then also my coworkers at my job have various like fitness wellness goals that they're doing. So they're like, well, let's like all take progress pictures at the beginning of the month, and then we can see like at the end of the month how adjustments have been made, and kind of just be encouraging to people. So I'm not always one big on like needing progress to work out. Like, I've tried to more focus it on my mindset and everything, but the fact that they're doing it, I was like, that's gonna be fun. So I took some before pictures, and we'll see at the end of the month what adjustments have been made. I don't really have any like specific goals necessarily of like shrinking or growing certain parts of my body. Like, obviously there's things that I'm more insecure about or like more and everything, but it mostly is just kind of the fun community part of it. So that's why I've been so motivated with the workouts, and then I think why I've been so hungry this week too. But I'm gonna go ahead and go inside so that I can be ready once the training time starts, and I'll catch you guys during it.
What is it exactly in this time of year?
So I actually am quite glad for yesterday and Tuesday's motivational interviewing training, because it really did help like kind of solidify what motivational interviewing is. Because like I said before I even started, I a little bit knew, but it was nice just to be able to kind of hear that refresher. And also it was nice because obviously like I used to be in grad school and then I graduated, so I'm not. And so it's been a while since I've just kind of like sat and listened to people talk about like the academic type stuff and you know, therapy type stuff. And so that part was cool too. But kind of like I mentioned before, I did have a pretty good idea of what motivational interviewing was. Like, it was pretty accurate in the type of therapy that it is. But as far as the actual things that we learned like in the training and talked about, a lot of it was, we talked about kind of handling resistance in clients. And resistance can show up in different ways. Obviously, if someone is resistant to treatment just like as a thing, like as treatment, then social work specifically is very big on client self-determination. And I get that gets to be a little bit different if anybody's working in like a court-ordered setting or anything like that. But sometimes clients will be resistant to wanting to participate in counseling because maybe they just like don't have any buy-in for it. Maybe they see it as like a sign of weakness to need help, or maybe they just don't think it works, whatever it may be. And then there's also a type of resistance where maybe someone's willing to do counseling, but they're very much like in the pre-contemplation stage of change and not really seeing any parts of their life that they feel like they want to work on or want to change. And something that I'm pretty sure is touched on in school, but also like I make sure to remind myself of pretty much daily in my work, is just the fact that as a social worker, like I can't have my own personal agenda for my clients. Like obviously based on my own biases and like my own personal goals in life, I have ways that I would love for my client's life to turn out because it's like what I think might be best for them. But as far as actual counseling goes, it doesn't matter what I think is best for them. It solely matters what their goals are. And so in an incarcerated setting, the like tough part of that becomes whenever kids don't care that they're incarcerated, and maybe like a life in prison they would be just fine with. And that's always the tough thing, because it's like in my head I'm like, oh, but you could do so much more. Like your life doesn't have to be in prison. But it's not my job to be judgmental of like their current goals and wants and needs and everything like that. So that's just kind of something interesting that I feel like does get talked about, but just is something that I definitely have to remind myself pretty much every day, just to make sure that I'm checking my biases in that kind of way of like my own personal goals compared to what, I'm not saying that all of my clients like want to live a life in prison, nothing like that, but that's just an example. And then another type of resistance that you can come across are people who maybe are resistant to change in the sense of not giving themselves a chance to change. And you can sometimes hear that if someone will like say a goal, like maybe, oh, I want to get all A's this semester, but you know I'm never going to do that. Or something like that, that just immediately downplays or like immediately doesn't even give themselves the chance to have a goal, like to make a change or to believe in themselves at all. And that's another resistance to change, because it's like if you don't believe that a change can happen, then I mean, you're resistant to it. It's not going to happen most likely. So we kind of discussed all of those different like types of resistance and different ways to kind of lean into resistance as well. And then another thing that we talked about was ambivalence and being able to point out ambivalence in clients. And so something that motivational interviewing specifically does is, like I said, like not being the expert on anything like as the counselor, and also not dictating my clients' goals for them and not telling them like what to do or what they should do, but being able to help them increase that intrinsic motivation. Because if I tell my client like, oh, I would love for you to get your GED or something like that, then that's extrinsic motivation. And even if that like somehow I was motivational enough that they did end up wanting to get their GED, but it was just solely external motivation, that's not the ultimate goal. So like the goal of motivational interviewing is to increase that intrinsic motivation. And so as far as ambivalence goes, that's like noticing and pointing out whenever clients may say something that doesn't like match up with each other. So it might be like you talk about like core values or something, and a client's core values are family, loyalty, and money or something like that. Like those are their core values. And they talk about how like they love spending time with their family, they want to be there for their family. And then like 5 minutes later on into the session, they talk about living a street lifestyle and how I don't even care, like I'm for the life, like this is gonna be my life, like if I get out I'm just gonna get locked back up again. And being able to kind of point out the difference in that of, hey, I remember you just told me that you really value your family, that you want to spend time with them, and now I hear you saying that it doesn't even matter if you get locked up again. And just kind of pointing that out, because then it can kind of lead to thought processes of, huh, you're right, like that doesn't match up. And then kind of being able to work with that ambivalence to find goals, articulate goals, move towards change that the client does want to make. So overall, very interesting training. And it was good too, just like even as motivation for me of like kind of re-sparking passion, you know, of like hearing people talk about what are good things to do in therapy and like, you know, just revives the motivation to be a great social worker. Not that it had gone anywhere, but I think you know what I mean. I'm getting ready right now for the restorative justice training that I'll be leaving for in 15 minutes. I'm leaving a little bit early because Zach forgot to bring pants to work, and lab work requires pants, and so I'm going to drop him off pants on my way there. The training said that they're providing both breakfast and lunch, so I'm kind of excited to see what that is. And last night after I vlogged, after we were in the car, I did end up going and working out, and I did a Sydney Cummings workout video like I love to do, and it was a 50-minute legs one, and it absolutely killed me. And then I also planned dinner recipes for the next 5 days. So I'm kind of excited for that too. If you've been around for a while, it used to be a goal of mine to really like increase my kind of cooking motivation and like making sure to actually be prioritizing meals and everything like that. And then I kind of stopped focusing specifically on it for a while, but all of the recipes that I plan for this week are new ones, which is always just fun to do. Okay, I think I'm ready. I'll catch you when I'm leaving. Outfit of the day, where I'm not going into jail, so I get to bring an actual bag instead of a clear bag. This shirt is from Amazon that I got just recently. These shoes, I was unsure about at first, but I've ended up really liking them. Also from Amazon, both linked in my storefront. My jeans are from, I think they're from Kohl's, and they were like $10 in 2016. So much use out of them. And then my banana is for tiding me over until I get there and they have breakfast. And Zach's pants are in my bag that I'm taking him.
What is it exactly in this time of year that makes the melancholy me reappear? Oh, back and forth through dark roast coffee, salt mist and sea.
This is now the second vlog in a row that we've seen the resurgence of snuggle chats whenever I'm all greased up, retainer in, ready to go to sleep in bed, but still have some things to talk about. So welcome to this edition of Snuggle Chats. What you're probably curious about, the training today. Very long because it really was 8 hours, and we did take good breaks, but it was very, very good. And all of the people that I met were very, very cool people. But as far as the restorative justice goes, like it really just has lit a fire inside me to, I don't know if pursue this. I don't really know what kind of fire it's lit, but definitely one that's been excitement for going forward with this volunteer opportunity. So you get a better explanation of restorative justice if you don't know too much about it. If you go like look up, after you finish this one, go look up like a YouTube video or something, because I'm sure the explanation I'm about to give isn't going to be the absolute best, but basically it's an alternative to the current criminal systems that we have, because the current criminal systems, I keep saying punitive, and I think that is true and that's a word that's used, but what's the word? Retributive is also a word that's used for our current systems. Basically what it is like if someone commits a crime in the way that the current system is, so say I'm going to start using the language. Say a responsible party commits an armed robbery, for example, to a person. There is a victim, a survivor, a harmed party there. With the current system, the obligation that the person who committed the crime has is to the state. They give like what feels like kind of an arbitrary give back, like, oh, well, now I'm going to spend 15 years in prison. And it really ignores the needs of the responsible party and also of the victims, because sometimes victims can get involved in things like victim impact statements to be read aloud in court, or needing to testify, which can be re-traumatizing. But as far as the victim's needs, those lots of times are just ignored in the way the systems usually work. But restorative justice is an alternative to that, where it focuses on actually repairing harms that were created by the crime or the action, the incident, whatever it may be. And so the fact that the responsible party committed an armed robbery to this person, there's a break in that relationship now. Even if they didn't have a relationship before, now they have a negative relationship. And so it is a victim-centered approach in finding out and being able to discuss with and talk with the victim in the ways that they were actually impacted and the harms that were actually done to them based on the act. And then in doing so, what the ultimate goal is, after having like pre-conference meetings with both responsible parties and the harmed parties, is to eventually have an actual conference where they get to come together. And like I said, it is victim-centered, so it's in order to meet their needs, but it's a facilitated dialogue between the parties involved where there can actually be reparation that makes sense for the incident that occurred and can actually address the needs of the harmed person and of the person who did the harming. So super cool to learn about, super cool mindset to be in for 8 hours today. Next Friday I have another 8-hour training where I'll actually do more like role plays and practice and everything. Today was a lot of the theory and just kind of understanding the structure, if you can tell that. But it was really cool and I did really like it. As far as other things go, not too much. I think I'm going to take a break off of vlogging just for a few days. In that once I end this vlog, I don't think I'm going to start my next one till like Tuesday or so, just to give that little break off, because honestly I was planning content today and with like the sit down videos and stuff that I have planned, so fingers crossed, can pull off coming. Basically I can take a break of vlogging and the videos will still be all lined up and everything, is all that I'm trying to say. I did finish 2 books in the past 2 days, so I've really been spending some time devoted to reading. I've been good about like I've been staying dedicated to my fitness goals, like I mentioned in my reset video. So I feel like things for the most part are going well, but I am feeling kind of just the mental chaos, I guess, just a little bit, in the sense that I'm feeling like a very big need to, before I go to bed tonight, make to-do lists of the next several days, just to make sure that everything that I want to be doing and know needs to be done is accounted for, just to make sure I don't like forget about anything. I'm just feeling a big need to plan, and I think with that kind of mental chaos that's been coming on, I've been feeling a big need to like clean out my closet and like organize drawers and just like make sure that nothing's taking my mental energy that doesn't need to be. So that's part of why taking the break on vlogging, because even like vlogging is not hard, but it is always kind of like the constant nag in the back of my mind on days that I am vlogging of, oh, like you should take a b-roll clip, oh, you should sit down and talk, like, oh, you need to find something to talk about, whatever it may be. So all of that being said, subscribe if you're not, because I don't know how much closer we can get than this right now. Retainer in and everything. I'm going to take a break and start my next vlog on Tuesday, but for you with the videos coming out, it'll still just be on the regular Sundays and Thursdays, with maybe increases coming soon. Maybe. That's TBD. Here's your reminder today to have as much grace with yourself as you will with others around you, and I will see you next time.